Here again? Like, far out, man. I'm your host, Pink Jimmy. Why Pink Jimmy, you say? Ask me sometime, maybe I'll tell you. Yet another episode of Stupid Pedal Tricks. Today's fabulous, attractive little device is my buddy Barry Steindl. Is the proprietor of GuitarPCBs.com. And a couple of years ago, he sent me a Dr. Fives board, which is now called Vibe. It's a four-stage phase shifter. It's real easy to build, and it sounds really good. But I was looking to replace my old Univibe, which weighs a freaking 1,000 pounds and requires a separate control pedal to actually function correctly. I'm holding this up in my hand, that's why it's all jiggly. Wow, it's just like, well, this is probably like what being a kid with like, their out Adderall is like, they're bouncing up and down in front of you demanding something. That wasn't funny, but I'm not a funny guy. Anyways, so he had come up with a way to go and modify the circuit. Actually, him and Tone Man and Bruce. And what they do is there's, well, a couple of mods. One I did was I put a small amount of fixed feedback so I could go and like turn it on and off with a switch. Because in some settings it sounds really nice. And they figured out how to go and switch between using a 2-stage or a 4-stage phaser. Which is awesome because when you use the 2-stage, effectively you're changing what is very similar to a phase 90 circuit to a phase 45. And the difference in sound is it's interesting. They're similar but subtly different. Of course, the feedback won't work in the phase 45 mode because it's you have to literally, well, it's disabled when you bypass the third stage where the feedback would normally go back in, or from the third stage, excuse me, whatever. But anyways, I wanted to replace my Univibe, so what I did was I figured a Univibe is a 4-stage phaser, a 4-stage phaser is a 4-stage phaser. Running under the assumption that, you know, sometimes it's always alright to let the magic smoke out. I bought a whole shitload of freaking JFETs online from a big respectable dealer. Unfortunately, Fairchild, or whoever they've become, they don't make them no more. Not in a through-hole design. So I bought a bunch of them, like way too many, and I didn't get any useful ones out of the whole. I mean, they're fine for certain kinds of overdrives or for clipping and crap like that, but none of them would work well in the phaser circuit. So Barry was, you know, kind enough to send me some, whatchamacallits, you know. I ordered up a couple of sets of matched JFETs for the circuit. But while perusing around the web, I found, you know, a few different things about phase shifters, and hats off to all the, you know, giants whose shoulders I just kind of crawl up on and look around going, what am I doing here? And a few of the things that I found interesting were the idea of univibing phase 90s or small stones or whatever. And the basic idea is you take, in a 4-stage phaser, you basically got like one fixed stage and 4 swept stages or something like that. And in the Univibe, they have uneven kind of capacitor values, so it messes with the timing sort of the way that it pulses. And that's part of what gives it the Univibe its characteristic sound. And so I was like, I wonder what would happen if I used Univibe values in a phase 90. So when I built this thing up, which is one of my first builds in a while, actually. So of course I screwed all kinds of shit up because that's just the way I roll, you know. But I socketed all those particular parts that I was curious about on the board, and then later, once I was sure they were cool, I, you know, a little dab of solder to hold them in. And anyway, so what we did was I took Barry's Univibe, not Univibe, but Vibe mod, and combined that with the Univibe caps, and kind of this is what it came out like. So at the time, I didn't have any crybaby shells kicking around, but I did have a Pile Pro wah shell And obviously, I was never going to use it, even though it really is just a crybaby. I mean, the things are pretty decent. They even have like a, they put a double bolt, double throw-in switch in there. They don't even wire it up for true bypass. I mean, it's, I don't get people sometimes. But anyways, I stuck it in here. I got a pot in there from Joe Gagan, who, if you need wah-wah pots, you definitely want to talk to Joe Gagan. You can look him up on Facebook. You can look him up at on eBay. I think it's Kalina15 or something like that with a K. Um, and this has a reverse taper 500K speed pot in it. Unfortunately, because of the design of the wah-wah shell, it's backwards, so I had to wire it backwards in order to take advantage of the control, like an actual usable control range to put in a foot pedal. It's got a blinky blinky on the side that pulses at the speed. And it'll follow it right up to ludicrous speed. Okay. Sounds like I got another bad chord. Yay, I just changed them. Anyways, I'm going to turn it on. First in phase 45 mode for vibe. Here we go. On it goes. Slowest speed setting. Give it a little bit of speed. We'll speed it up a little. This with actually the stupid face is off. It's just the guitar into the phaser. We'll speed it up a lot. All right, I'm going to switch it to the other. Slow. Make it go fast. Put the regen on. Blinky, 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 blinky. Turn the fuzz way down. Wonder if I can put it up here. That was horrible, I know. Excuse me. The bitches, it's backwards because of the way it is in this piece of shit pile. So I got some crybaby shells I got recently. I'm gonna have to remount this thing. Also, it's not shielded, so it tends to kind of hum a little bit. Of course, playing a Strat on with single coil on and a fuzz box doesn't help that. But anyways, does it sound like a Univide? Well, that depends on your perspective. I mean, it's got a similar kind of warble, and it definitely does the vibe thing. You lose some of the phaser attributes doing it this way, which is okay because it's like if I wanted it to be a phaser, I would have put a phaser in it. I was looking to do an easy vibe that was affordable, that would be close enough for rock and roll. And I think it kind of is. You can look up the bill documents and all that stuff on guitarpcb.com. Registration is required for certain areas of the forum and stuff like that. But Barry and the crew is a great bunch of guys, and they've come up with some really cool toys. I mean, this thing's sounds close enough for rock and roll to me. Just got to get used to the foot thing being backwards. But it almost makes more sense to have it come in up at the top if you're gonna have a switch up there slow. So I'm gonna turn it off. And anyways, that's the vibe with a couple of mods. Like I said, it was just the capacitors. You can look up the values for a Univibe. You'll see 5 stages that all look the same. The first one, don't worry about. It's the ones after that. I forget what the values are, but it's like 470 picofarad, 4.7 nanofarad, maybe 220 picofarad, something like that. You'll see it. There's 4 caps. Try putting in the values that are like that. I'd recommend using sockets. I hate using those little SIP things because they fall apart. Once you put 1 or 2 components in them, they're garbage, really. Um, but in this case, it's probably not a bad idea. You can put them in socket and experiment. Barry uses different value caps than what I used, and his sounds really good. Mine sounds different from his. Mine sounds a little bit more like my Univibe, but that was what I was kind of looking to do. The cap value thing does make a difference. I've done it before in small stones and other phase shifters. Some were better results than others. A big part of the Univibe sound is the fact that it's an incandescent lamp, and it's like as it illuminates and de-illuminates, the resistance that causes resistance changes for it sweeps the phase shifter basically is what it does. And as it flashes on and off, it's not it's nowhere near as fast as like an LED. It's not like on off. It kind of swells in, swells out, and that's part of the sound too. This obviously won't do that. Do I care? Not a freaking bit. But anyways, once again, and hey, word to your mom. Um, this is Pink Jimmy with yet another episode of Stupid Pedal Tricks, and we'll see you again next time. Peace out.